ज्ञानातिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधाकान्ता नमोऽस्तुते। तप्त कांचन घोरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी ऋषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे। या कुन्देन्दुतुषारहारधवला या शुभ्रवस्त्रावृता या वीणावरदन्धमण्डितकरा या श्वेतपद्मासना या ब्रह्मच्युतशङ्करप्रभृतिभिर्देवे सदा वन्दिता। सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती बुद्धिप्रदां शारदे, बुद्धिप्रदां शारदे। Jai Gurudev. Good morning. Do I look crazy in that photo? Do we all agree that they chose a weird one? No? Well, I clearly look like somebody who needs a guide. This for sure. I don't know if that's what Pankaj was thinking, if he found it. But anyway. Today we're talking about why we need a guide in life. I don't know, I think most of you know why you need a guide in your life, and that's the reason why you're here for Navaratri, I guess. Many others of you have no idea why you came for Navaratri, and it's good. They're both good. So, why we need a guide in life? Well, we have to see, I'm going to cut it down in 3 different parts. If you lose me, raise your hand, and I will explain it again, okay? All good? Good. Now, why we need a guide in life? The first thing we have to check is need. What does it mean to have a need? What are different needs? And what's going on with need? Then we have to check different types of guide. Yeah? When do you need a guide? And what type of guides do you have? And then life. What is life? What do we want from life? How do we identify our life to be? And Guruji, because he's beautiful and he looks good. He looks good there, and he's also, at least as I'm giving the presentation, he's the guide that I have. So if you don't know online, this is the guide. Okay, so you ready? We start? Define need, we define the guide, we define life. So, definition of need. So in a dictionary, if you go to Oxford Dictionary, you'll find that a need means to require something or somebody because they are essential or very important, not just because you would like to have them or because it is desirable. And the second definition is need to do something used to show what you should or have to do. Okay, that's the dictionary definition. Now, why is this interesting for us specifically? Is because not just because you would like to have them or because it is desirable. That's a good definition of need. For example, do you have an idea of when you need something not just because it's desirable, you just actually absolutely need it? What is an extreme example? Water? Sleep? Yeah? When you're drowning, you want to breathe. Yeah, you're not desire. It would be nice to have some oxygen now. You need. It's actually a need. It's not a desire. It's the absolute need of having that. Okay? So, this is the definition that we have, and that's a good one to think, to require something or somebody, because they're essential or very important. Now, we will realize later on today that what is essential depends on how you define things. Yeah. According to the definition that you make of your life or of your needs, you will realize what is essential in your life and what is not. So there are two types of needs. Of course, there are way more types of needs, but today we're going to focus on two types of needs. The needs of the world and the need of the divine. Okay? Today, we're going to go through these two worlds, these two possibilities. The needs of the world and the need of the divine. So the needs of the world, as you can see clearly in that amazing picture that I found online, it's all about having a house and money, that's gold. But in general, what are the needs of the world? If you think about the needs of the world, we will read a quote from Guruji later on. The needs of the world are something that is tangible, is material. That's what you need in the world. When you need to pay your rent for the house has to be a physical place, and the rent has to be physical. You need to have the money to be able to pay your rent. You need to have money to be able to have your food. These are all tangible, material things that you can see, that you can touch, that you can aspire to, and you can get in order to get something else. And this is a need. These are needs of the world. What do you need? You need a job. Because through the job, you will get your salary. And thanks to the salary, you will be able to buy the things that you like so that you can go to your job again, to get again money, to buy the things that you have so that you can have a job again. And you just go on like this. That sounds very sad, but it's actually the reality. So these are the needs of the world. And I don't know if you know the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's a map in psychology that will explain to you what is the pyramid of what are the needs from the bottom one to the top one. And we're going to just quickly go through them. So at the bottom you can see you have physiological needs: air, water, food, shelter, sleep, clothing, and reproduction. Yeah? Psychologically, we can say on the animalistic level of our mind, this is what somehow an animal will look for as well. If you take a dog, it will also look for air because it needs to breathe. It will also look for water because it needs to drink. It will look for food because he needs to eat. He will look for shelter because he needs to have a safe place where he can sleep. He doesn't really need clothing, but somehow this is more applicable for us. And then reproduction, and that's what the animalistic part of our life will think, just to reproduce, to let life go on and find these basic physiological needs. We all agree, we all have them? Yes. Then you have the safety needs. So there is the personal security, employment, resources, health, and property. This is what you have in life normally. Before being spiritual is what they teach you that you need to have. That's what you look for when you finish high school. You finish high school, and what do you want to do? You have to be employed, to be secure personally so that you can have enough resources to keep your health steady, have a property where you can go on breathing, eating, sleeping, and reproducing. So these are the safety needs. Then you have the love and belonging. You have friendship, intimacy, family, sense of connection. Now, Do you have friends? Yeah? Are they really your friends? Okay, that's not a question that we ask ourselves. It would be too sad. So, friendship, intimacy, you have intimate people that are close to you, I guess. Family, you have your family. You're born in a family, you grow up in family, you find later on your own family, and you develop your family. And the sense of connection. This is more that emotional part of man. Aristotle said that humans are rational animals. And as you can see, the first 3 parts of this pyramid will look into the animalistic side and the social side of man. We all get into that. We all look for friendship, we look for intimacy, we look for a family, we look for security, employment. Somehow, if you think about seva, when you're doing service, it's some sort of employment. You're looking for all these needs. There is a side of all of us that is looking for this. And then going higher on the pyramid, you have esteem. So you'll find respect, self-esteem, status, recognition, strength, freedom. And that's where the more you read them, the more you realize they kind of clash with what we are trying to do on a spiritual path. Because respect is okay. Respect is there. Self-esteem is something that we are trying to build because it's clear that we don't have that much. You can see it in the anxiety that we all have daily in many different situations of our life. You can see that is a problem when you talk about for example, even when yesterday Guruji was asking about the story that Swami Revati told. How many of you, I wasn't here, but I heard what he said. How many of you raised their hand? And the other ones, okay, good job. But the other ones who didn't, did you know the story? Yes. But why did you not raise your hand? Oh, because you knew he was going to ask you to tell the story. So quite, of course. It's like 1 + 1 is 2. It's obvious. You should never raise your hand in situations like this. No, but there is a side inside of you that is the low esteem one, the low self-esteem that says, don't even think about looking at him. Not just raising your hand, just go away. Go away immediately. Run. Why? Self-esteem. Problematic. It's a problem. On a spiritual path, the master, the guide that you have, will play on that self-esteem. And he will destroy different sides of it so that you can rebuild it again to be strong with self-esteem. Then we can see, as I said, that this part, we all have it. But when we talk about status, recognition, strength, and freedom, other than strength, but freedom, recognition, status, this is something that clashed with the spiritual path. When you're on a spiritual path, when you're here in Bhakti Marga and with Guruji, you're not looking for status. You're supposed to be a servant. Actually, you're supposed to be the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant. It's not that much about a status. Think about going to the main TV show in your country, and then they ask you, so what's your status? What's your job? And you say, oh, I am the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant. And you say it so happily. For the world, it doesn't make any sense. For this pyramid, doesn't make any sense. But spiritually, it's the greatest thing you can aspire to, be the servant of the servant of the servant. So that's complicated. Recognition, fame. You do something, they have to recognize that you did that thing. Now, this is exactly the opposite of karma yoga and of seva. When you're doing your service and you're practicing karma yoga, you're not looking for recognition. When you serve your guru, the last thing you're looking for is recognition. But the first thing that your mind is looking for is recognition, of course. So there's a fight there. And then the last one is self-actualization. That sounds super cool. Desire to become the most that one can be. It's not really clashing with the spiritual life, in the sense that the Guru will bring you to the best version of who you are. The spiritual path is supposed to, at its best, and the pinnacle of our experience on the spiritual path, supposed to bring you to the best version of who you are. The problem in this chart, in this pyramid, is that most that one can be is a very egocentric self. This is what they teach you. I'm not saying it's specifically wrong. I'm saying that for the spiritual path is absolutely not good and not useful, because psychotherapy, psychology, everything that comes connected to this pyramid will bring you to a very strong ego. Very strong. You know who you are, you know where you belong, you know who's your family, you know what you want, you know where you're supposed to be. It's a very strong sense of this identity that we know on the spiritual path is a wrong one. It's a temporary one. It's not the final one. But this is where the world will lead you. This is where the needs of the world will lead you to a very strong ego, strong identity. I am the CEO of this company because it's mine. Very strong. This is my job. This is my family. This is my house. This is my car. This is my daughter. This is my. It's always about my, I, and mine. If you disagree, let me know. I'm curious. You disagree? Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying this is in the world. Yeah, that was my point. And in the Bhagavad Gita, in chapter 1, you all know the Bhagavad Gita? Yes. Yes, good. Thank you. And whoever of you said no, we already covered, or you didn't say anything, it's because of the self-esteem problem. We already spoke about it. We already edited. So, Arjuna says in the Bhagavad Gita in chapter 1, verse 32 and 33, he says, "Nor do I desire victory, a kingdom, or happiness. Of what use to us is a kingdom, enjoyment, or even life itself? The people for whose sake we desire those things stand ready to fight and give up their lives and their wealth for this war." What's the name of chapter 1? Arjuna's lamentation. Yeah, lamentation. Is he lamenting in this part of the chapter? It is the lamentation? No, who says? Somebody says no. Yeah. I'm not going to ask you something else. It's just a very yes or no interaction. Is he lamenting? Yes. Thank you. Okay, so he's clearly lamenting. He's lamenting. And what's his problem? He's talking, well, first of all, remember, Krishna will say, "Oh, you speak words that appear to be wise." Yeah, they appear to be wise. But the wise ones do not lament either for the living nor for the dead. Yeah? So this is something that appears very wise in the world. You're going to be like, "Oh, wow, I don't want victory. I don't desire that. I don't want a kingdom. I don't want happiness. What's the use of that kingdom if I cannot be in that kingdom with the people that I love?" Because Arjuna's point is that everything that we looked earlier in that pyramid, family, security, all these things are in the kingdom with the people that he loves, friendship, etc. But he says, what am I going to do with that kingdom if there are not the people that I love into that kingdom? That's his argument at the beginning in chapter 1. But of course, this is just him lamenting, and he's thinking about needs and desires of the world. He's not focused on God. Chapter 1 is clearly not the moment in Arjuna's life and experience on the battlefield where he is focused on the divine, is not focused on God, is not focused on Krishna, is not focused on karma yoga, on doing his duty. There's nothing like this. He's a pure human in his mind, lamenting about his life and the consequences of the actions that he doesn't want to do. Very relatable. Okay, so these are the needs of the world. Now, what are the needs of the divine? Yeah. We spoke about the needs of the world, but the need of the divine is what? We can see in the picture there are many different saints. And all these saints have in common that they're focused on what you can find in the center. They're all focused on God. That's the main focus they have. That's the only need they have. That's the only desire they have. If we want in this situation to equate need with desire, we can do it. But when we think about desire, we have to remember what Guruji says about desire. He says that you cannot not have desires. Because your mind thinks in this way. You will always have desires, but you have to decide where you direct your desires towards. Okay? We need to remember this throughout our life, especially throughout today's lecture. So, Lord Krishna says, now listen, Arjuna, how one can have full knowledge of me without any doubts by dedicating his yoga practice to me and absorbing his mind on me. I will explain this knowledge to you fully along with the process of its immediate realization. Once you understand this, there is nothing else that needs to be known. This is chapter 7, verses 1 and 2. What is the greatness of chapter 7? What is happening? There is a great change in the narrative of the Bhagavad Gita, and in what Krishna is telling Arjuna is that the focus is not anymore on Arjuna, but the focus becomes Krishna. The focus is not anymore on the identity of Arjuna, on what he really is and what he should do, but is becoming who Krishna is and where he should focus his mind, what his desires should be, what his only need is of Arjuna. From chapter 7 to chapter 18, basically, is just you need only one thing, to focus your mind on God. Who is the best yogi? The one who focuses the mind on me. And now we have the two types of need, just to recap them. We have the needs of the world that are limited, perishable, mutable, and changing. We agree to this? It's clear. We all know about this. And then we have the need of the divine that is unlimited, imperishable, immutable, and unchanging. Two different worlds. And remember what Guruji says. Guruji says you have two possibilities. You can choose Maya or you can choose God. They're both eternal. Make your choice. But don't complain if the result is not what you want. Yeah? If we choose the world, we will get limited things, perishable things, mutable things, and changing things. If we strive for the divine, for God, we will have unlimited things, imperishable, immutable, and unchanging. We're just putting things on the plate. Yeah? We're like looking at an equation. We have one side of it, needs of the world, limited, need to God, unlimited. Now let's look at the second part of these points, that is the guide. Okay? Let's see what the definition of a guide is. A person who shows other people the way to a place, especially somebody employed to show tourists around interesting places. Now, Vaikunta is a pretty interesting place. So in one way or another, you can put the guru into that definition. Then you have a person who advises you on how to live and behave. This makes sense. A book, magazine, app, etc. that gives you information, help, or instructions about something. And something or someone that gives you enough information to be able to make a decision about something or form an opinion. Now, for point one, we have a person, the tourist guide that is employed to show you around Vaikunta. There are not that many who can show you Vaikunta, but I know one. If you want, I can send you to him. Then, number two is a person who advises you on how to live and behave, and this is very guru-like. Yeah, the guru is traditionally, in the Vedic time, not even if you talk about the Sadguru, but the guru in general, the figure of the master as the guide is somebody that advises you on how to live and behave. Yeah, a counselor is, in that sense, a guide. Yeah, when you go to a psychotherapist, is a guide. When you go to to whoever nowadays you will go to that will simply tell you how to live and behave, is a guide. Then you have a book, magazine, app that gives you information, help, or instruction about something. And this is where we can put the scriptures. This is where we can put the Bhagavad Gita, the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Bhagavad Gita, the scriptures in general, and everything else that even Guruji mentioned the other day. These are all guides. They will teach you, they will tell you how to live and behave. And then the fourth one is something or someone that gives you enough information to be able to make a decision about something or form an opinion. This is more worldly based if you think about it. It's someone that gives you enough information so that you can make your own opinion about something specifically. But what is the guru doing? The guru is giving you his discrimination. There is a step beyond this one. The guru doesn't only give you enough information, he actually gives you his own way to look at reality. So that through that way to look at reality, you can make the decisions about something, or you can form your opinion because you will borrow his discrimination. You take his discrimination, and you will check what he would do, what he would say to do, what the scriptures say to do. Yeah, that's the way that we can turn it into a spiritual guide for the fourth definition of the dictionary. The reason why I'm using the dictionary definitions is because most of us here are Westerners, yeah, or we grew up with a Westerner's mentality, and this is what they teach us. This is what we have in our brain, whether we want it or we don't, whether we remember it or not. We went to school and we had dictionaries. This is how they teach us things. So there are two types of guides. You have the guides of the world and you have the guides to God. Okay? So these are different. I want to be clear on this situation before I put it. I have nothing against those people. Not really. I have nothing, online especially. I have nothing against. The people I'm going to show, they are very good for the need that you have. Today, there's no dissing going on here. I'm not dissing any of these people. So we have Tony Robbins, for example. I don't know if you know him. We have Dr. Phil. Great one. And for the love of Rishi Sambhava, we have also Gary V. Yeah? Do you know any of them? Yes. Okay. It's okay. If you don't know them, it's okay. If you know them, it's okay. There's really no problem with it. So the one on the left is a very, very, very prominent, successful, and great coach. He's basically a coach. He's a mental coach. He will teach you how to navigate your mind, how to get past your traumas, how to, become stronger, have more self-esteem. Everything we looked earlier in that pyramid, he will make you stronger. He will make you, stronger, identified with who you are. You'll be a strong man or a strong woman or a strong whoever you are. Will make you stronger. Tony Robbins, it's great. And he had a documentary on Netflix that was called "I Am Not Your Guru," for example. Even though it's not true, it's not a diss thing, but by definition of what a guru is, according to what we believe, he acts as a guru. Anyway, Dr. Phil is, you know Dr. Phil? Yes. Dr. Phil is a doctor, apparently, even though if you look on Google, like always, one of the first things that comes up is Dr. Phil really a doctor? Because nobody believes anything nowadays. So anyway, Dr. Phil is a psychologist, apparently. He's very good. He has this TV show where he gets people there and he goes through their traumas and helps mothers and daughters and parents and children to get through problems that they have and other type of problems. It's very good. For the world, he's very good. And what he's supposed to do, he's very good in doing it. One of the best clips I've seen from Dr. Phil is there's a girl that goes there and the mother also, and she is complaining because she needs to work. And the mother doesn't know what to do, so she goes to Dr. Phil, and Dr. Phil forces her to work, and she cries. I know. It's very sad. And then you have Gary Vee. Gary Vee is debatable why you would put him here, but Gary Vee, in his sense, in his way, is a very good guide if you want to make money, for example. If you want to, it's all about like your brand. If you have a company and if you want to grow your brand, how to do in your marketing and how to make money, how to become stronger in your company, he's a great guide. He's a great guide. He will tell you how to live. He will tell you how to behave. He will fit in the description said earlier, and many people succeeded thanks to his advices. So what's the nice thing about Tony Robbins, Dr. Phil and Gary Vee? They actually do what they're supposed to. They come to you and they say, I will make you stronger. Tony Robbins will make you stronger. Dr. Phil says, I will help you solve your problems in your family, psychologically. And he does what he's supposed to. Gary Vee will tell you, I'll make you a stronger entrepreneur. I will make you grow your company more. And he does what he's supposed to. That's why that's not a diss. According to the needs that you have in life, you go to different guides. You have traumas, you go to Tony Robbins. Your daughter doesn't want to work, even though she's supposed to because she's a human. You go to Dr. Phil. You want to grow your company, you go to Gary Vee. Yeah, that's what you do. Okay, this is the guides of the world. They will give you limited, temporary, changing results, but they will give them to you. And then you have the guides to God. Yeah? For example, this one. A very beautiful and sweet one. Paramahamsa Vishwananda. I don't know if you know him. Great, great guide. And majestic. And this picture is amazing. Huh? This picture is nice. He's a guide to God. There's nothing more to say. Then you have, for example, in the murals in the temple, if you're new, maybe you noticed, but maybe you didn't. When you go in the temple, you look up and you have all the story. If you're in the back of the temple and you're looking up at the murals, you have all the story of Krishna. And if you go to the top of the temple and you look back, you will have all the Srimad Bhagavatam main stories. And this is one of the murals in our temple. You have Krishna that is teaching to Uddhava what? How to live and how to behave. What's the connection then with the other picture? You have Ramanuja, you have the 12 Alvars. They're all focused on God, and what they will do, they will tell you how you're supposed to live and how you're supposed to behave. Kulashekara Alvar is one of the 12 that are in that picture. And he's the one that we sing and we chant every evening. And what is he saying? You have to be the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant. It's a way to live and it's a way to behave. Live as if you are the servant of the servant of the servant. Guruji is saying, live with humility. Remove your ego. Don't think about your fame, name, and glory. He will teach you how to live and behave. Krishna is telling Uddhava, focus on God. And he will give him examples of mistakes that you should not make and the way you should live and behave. Yeah? Guides. Now, there is a story. I don't know if you know the story of the woodcutter and the saint. There was a woodcutter. Sorry. I lived them? Yeah, Guruji is nice. There was a woodcutter that was cutting wood, and he was very good. He was going every day to the wood, and he was cutting the wood, and I was going home. One day, he's passing by, and he sees a saint. So he goes to the saint and bows down. The saint says, I see you every day, and you're amazing in your job of cutting wood. But you know what you should do? You should go deeper in the forest. So what the woodcutter does, he goes in the forest, he cuts, and he goes deeper in the forest, and he cuts more. And what does he find? He finds sandalwood, and it's more valuable than the normal one that he had before. So he goes, he sells it, and he makes money, good money. And then he thinks, but the saint told me to go deeper into the wood. So what does he do? He goes back into the woods, he goes deeper in the forest, he cuts beyond the sandalwood, and he finds silver. He's very happy about it, takes the silver, goes back to the city, sells the silver, and he makes good money. But then he remembers, the saint told me to go deeper in the woods. So he goes back to the woods, he goes deeper in the forest, and past the normal wood, he passed the sandalwood, he passed the silver mine that he found, and he finds gold. He's very, very happy about it. So he takes all the gold, he goes to the city, he sells it to the market, he makes a lot of money. But he remembers, the saint told me to go back in the woods and go deeper and deeper into the forest. So he goes back there, he passes normal wood, he passes the sandalwood, he passes silver, he passes gold, and he finds diamond. And then he thinks, that's where the saint wanted to lead me, to the diamond. And Guruji says at the end of this story, he says, the diamond is what the saint will guide you to. But if you see the sandalwood forest and stop, what will happen? You will not advance. If you see the silver mine and stop, you will not advance. If you see the gold mine and stop, you will not advance. And then he says, but when you have the diamonds, then you can stop, because then you're rich enough. It's the same on the spiritual path. You will experience many things, but don't let these experiences stop you. Always look ahead. There is a much greater thing awaiting you. If we focus on the last part, you will experience many things, but don't let these experiences stop you. How many of you had a very, very strong, or even just a strong spiritual experience? Like something that you would call maybe not bliss overall, but like a drop of bliss. Yeah. Now, I don't know if you're like me, but if you had this before meeting Guruji, that became your obsession. If you had that great, massive experience, the best you ever had, that became your obsession, because it's the highest possible. I had very, very strong experiences in the night in my life since I was young. And I always, for years and years, year after year, day after day, looked for that same thing. I wanted it again. It was like, the only way I found to describe it, it was like a falling star burning, but in enjoyment. Keep falling. Think about how beautiful, it's amazing. I still have it. It's still one of my problems. I'm still looking for that. When I pray to God, when I think at God, when I think at the greatest thing that I can receive, I still think that it's going to be like that. I'm still looking, I'm limiting myself to the sandalwood, to the silver, to the gold. I'm still thinking that the pinnacle of the spiritual experience is going to be me feeling like I'm falling forever, burning in bliss. Because it's awesome. I don't know if you ever had it. It's amazing. It's like, it's not comparable to any drugs that I had. It's not comparable to any type of alcoholic experience I had. It's not. There's nothing in the world that I found that gave me that. And actually, everything I looked for in the world was because I had a need. I needed to feel that again. So I tried with sex. I tried with alcohol. I tried with drugs.
When you burn out?
Huh?
What happens when you burn out?
What happens when I burn out? You don't burn out. You wake up, or you open your eyes. It's very sad, actually. It's one of the most sad experiences you can have in my life, when you come out of that thing and you come back. So anyway, burning eternally aside, that's the only way I found in so many years to describe how it is. It's really awesome. But the problem it is this, that it is awesome and becomes a desire. So what do? You limit the results that you can have. So what happens? In my life, I limit God, saying, if you want me to feel you, this is how it happens. I'm looking for that. I'm looking for, I don't know, many of you maybe are looking for the opening of the third eye. Many of you maybe are looking for the Kundalini rising and spinning so that you can sit down in the temple, and when everybody's singing the Govinda prayer, you can twirl on yourself and just like spin like an helicopter because your Kundalini is awakening and the snakes inside of you are spinning. It is something that we're laughing now, but you'd be lying. Some of you would be lying to yourself if you say that you were not looking for that, at least once. Because that's what you're looking for. I remember when I was younger, I was sitting in my room, putting some very transcendental music, some dynamic meditation of Osho, that had some mind-blowing bells going, like spinning, and I was there on my chair, just closing my eyes, hoping my mom would not come in the room, because yes. And then I would just, to help the spinning of the Kundalini, I had the chair and I would spin myself on the chair to give the twist so that it would help aerodynamically the Kundalini to spin. And it's not a joke. Like, I'm opening myself to all of you right now. I actually did it. And I was looking for that experience. And you think that I stopped when I took drugs? No, I used drugs, spinning off the chair, looking for that twist. It's the truth. It's the truth. I'm not proud of it, but that's what happened. That's the problem. We limit things. So what happens? God, or the saints, the gurus will tell you, go deeper, go deeper. Don't limit your experience. What is the story? It's so beautiful. Why? Because it's telling the woodcutter, don't limit yourself to what you can get from the sandalwood. Don't limit yourself from what you can get from silver. Don't limit yourself from gold. Don't, because I will give you the diamond, but to give you the diamond, you have to go deeper. Otherwise, you're limiting yourself, and you end up doing exactly what everybody else is doing in the world. You're looking for something that is not immutable, is not unchanging, is limited. You're limiting God, that is by definition unlimited. It's very nice, very strong. That's why it's an amazing quote. When you have the diamonds, then you can stop. And the question is, Because some questions when you travel, you have them. How do I know if I got the diamonds? Well, you will know when you have the diamonds. Because you will feel like you have something that cannot be higher. What is the promise in chapter 4, at the end of chapter 4, that Krishna does? You will reach endless joy, a joy that does not decay. You will feel it, that is not decaying. It just can go down. It just keep growing. Guruji spoke about that type of happiness. It's an happiness that has nothing else other than happiness. The happiness we feel is limited. Why? Because we have happiness and we have sadness. And you know this by experience. You will experience many things, but don't let these experiences stop you. Always look ahead. There is a much greater thing awaiting you. And just until when I have time, I don't remember. 12:30. Okay. You all here? All good? Focus. Okay, I tell you you want a little experience of something that was like, oh my God, so cool. But it's limited. I'm limiting. So it was Shivaratri. We had crazy Shivaratri. Guruji was wild in that Shivaratri. It was really wild. We're doing it in the darshanal. It was really crazy. And I chanted most of the night a lot of mantras, Shiva mantras, Shiva Upanishad, a lot of stuff from Shiva for hours. We just kept chanting. We're going wild, just chanting. I lost my voice completely. And then at the end, after all these hours being awake, you stay awake all night, hundreds of people in the darshanal. I'm sitting on the couch outside of the darshanal. And Guruji finishes the event. And what are you looking for after Shivaratri night? To sleep. You just want to die in your bed and wake up 2 hours after because you probably have something to do. So I'm there, I'm sitting and I'm thinking, oh yes, beautiful to stay awake, but let's go to sleep. And Guruji says, let's make a meditation. And I said, yeah, of course, let's make a meditation. Why not? So I'm sitting there, Guruji says, close your eyes. I don't remember what it was specifically because I was really psychologically gone. But at one point, I feel like I'm inside my mouth. It was really weird. And I'm not taking drugs anymore, if anybody of you is asking this, okay? And it's been a long time since I took drugs last time. So, at least 6 years. At the time, it was at least 5 without. So I'm inside my mouth, and my tongue is really long and big, and indented in my tongue, like an incision in my tongue. There are all these Sanskrit verses and mantras. It was super trippy. It was way more trippier than when I took drugs. So I'm inside my tongue, I'm inside my mouth, I see my tongue, and I see the tongue sliding with all these mantras, and I'm shouting them. But it's such a strong experience, it's super cool, it's an amazing experience, but it's so strong that at the same time, I think that I'm shouting in the room outside of the darshanal. So I physically take my hands and I block my mouth. Because I'm scared that I'm actually shouting them. It was an amazing experience. I was actually living that mantras. I was in those mantras. It was awesome. Limited. Do you think that in my craziness I didn't look for that again? Of course. It's amazing. Think about the Sri Suktam. You feel like Lakshmi and you're just chanting Lakshmi. It didn't happen anymore. It's limited, but we have to follow this. You will experience many things. I have many other different stories I can tell you. They are going to limit you. And what's a nice thing? I wrote to Guruji once about a crazy experience I had. Madness. That was golden symbols just spinning on my head, complete ecstasy. And I wrote to Guruji when I came back from that thing I wrote to him, and I said, Guruji, what the hell was that? I mean, and I told him specifically, and he answered with a heart. That was the depth of, like, oh, you broke the sigil of this, whatever, you broke the doors of whatever Vaikuntha are cracking open for you. Nothing, no, just a heart. But chapter 4 of the Bhagavad Gita, verse 34, you have to inquire extensively to the spiritual master. So I go, when he comes back from Greece, I go to him and say, Guruji, what was that? It was, oh my God. And he said, it's good. You're just remembering, it's good. End of the story. Never spoke about it again, never mentioned it again. Zero. Be careful, because you will have many experiences, but don't let these experiences stop you. There's another nice story of Bhagavad Goswami. Again, all these stories are taken from, if you don't have it, if you didn't read from it, is in the Just Love, A Journey into the Heart of God, of Guruji, where all these stories are piled up. So the story of Bhagavad Goswami is nice, because when Bhagavad Goswami in his story, in his life, he was a great devotee of Gadadhar Pandit, that he was a very close associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So when Bhagavad Goswami knew about the greatness of Krishna, he left everything and he went to Vrindavan. And the only thing that he did was japa and parikrama. One day he goes for this big parikrama that he's doing, and he hurt his feet. He hit with the feet a stone, and he hurt himself badly. And he started to bleed. And he was in pain, as anybody would be when you hurt your foot and you're bleeding. So he's in pain, but the main pain that he has is not because of the food, it's because he has to go back to the ashram to give food to Thakurji. He has to go back to his ashram, to the deity, to give food to him. Super sweet. And he doesn't know how to do it. And that's why he's in pain. He's in distress. He's very sad because he needs to go back to give bhog, to give food. And in that moment, a sadhu is passing by. And that sadhu is Krishna in disguise. The sadhu goes there and says, please help me carry you to your ashram so that you can give food to your deity. And he says, no, how can this be done? It can't be. You are a sadhu. You're not going to carry me. It should be the opposite. I should carry you. You are a sadhu. You can't carry me. But the sadhu insisted. And so in one way, Krishna succeeded. So he takes him on his shoulders and he brings him back to the ashram where he can have food. And at one point, after a while, when he wants to thank him because he's allowed to be back and to give food to Thakurji, he turns looking for the sadhu, and the sadhu disappeared. So when the sadhu disappeared, Bhagavad Goswami realized, oh, that was Krishna. And other than being incredibly happy to have seen Krishna, to be with him, he becomes really sad. And the reason why he becomes so sad is because Krishna had to carry him back to the ashram. And this is what Guruji is remarking in this story specifically, but if you listen to it carefully, to most of the stories, is the humility of the saints. Because in that situation, he's thinking, oh my God, I am the servant, he's not the servant. And so he's very sad. And in the night, when he's sleeping, Krishna comes in his dream, and Bhagavad Goswami is really, really sad and says, this was really bad, really bad. You had to carry me. It's supposed to be the opposite. It doesn't work like this. And Krishna says, don't worry. Don't worry. Just take it as it is. Enjoy. And so Bhagavad Goswami wakes up. He's very happy. And the distress is gone. So what Guruji says is, this story shows how much Bhagavan cares for each one more than we care for ourselves. When we have taken shelter of the Guru and God, they take care in their own way. Maybe you will not recognize it, not see it, or not feel it, but they do take care of each one, and they do carry each one. You might know the incarnation of God as Kurma avatar. You know the tortoise, the turtle that comes in the story of the Samudra Manthan, in the churning of the ocean. Kurma comes and lifts the mountain. What is symbolically representing? God is the sustainer. God comes and carries you and carries everything in your life, because ultimately everything comes from Him. Everything. So what is Guruji saying here? He says, whether you see it or you don't see it, the Master is always there. The Guru is always there and he's carrying you. But the problem in our life is that we like to see what we do for other people and what we do for the Guru and the mission of the Guru. And being lost in these thoughts of, oh my God, I'm doing so much seva. I'm such a great bhakta. I am doing all these things. You get lost and you don't see how much he's doing for you. You don't really even see that the fact that you're allowed to do seva, it's his seva to you and to all of us. And I'm not telling you this judging. Yeah, I need also a charger for the iPad. Yeah. Sorry. Jacob told me it would last, but Jacob's fault. There's a plug there. So, sorry, translators. I'll go slower. I don't tell you this judging you, absolutely. If you feel judged, it's your problem. But also because I'm actually judging you, judging myself. I'm telling you this from experience. Like, I, on a daily basis, find multiple instances, situations, and moments where I am so proud about everything that I'm doing. And when Guruji tries, this is a recent example of 2 days ago, when Guruji tries to criticize what I do, I get upset. And I think at everything that I do, everything that I did. And I'm thinking, oh, wow, you're complaining about this little thing, this little dust there, but look at everything else. Look at the mountain of things that I built. This is so bad. And I'm telling you, I feel so bad whenever it happens. That's how my mind works. I don't know if you can relate to this, but that's the problem. You will end up not seeing, not recognizing. Look at how he himself tells you what's your problem. Maybe you will not recognize it. In that moment, I don't recognize it. I don't see it. I see only him complaining or like criticizing, or him not being there when I need it. Not feel it. I don't feel anything in those moments other than depression and anger. That's what I feel. But they do take care of each one, and they do carry each one. That's our problem. We don't see that. We're limited in the way we look at these things. So as we said, we have two types of guides. The guides of the world and the guides to God, right? We have the needs of the world, we have the guides of the world, we have the need to God, and we have the guides to God. Okay, still there? It's cold? A little, yeah. I know. So 2 types of life, that's the last thing we have to check. We have the needs, we have the guide, we have life now. Now, you have the mundane life, and then you have a spiritual life. Now, let's see, mundane life. Beautiful, I like this. So you wake up, you get up, you take a shower, you get dressed, you comb your hair. You have breakfast, you go to work, you have lunch, you cook dinner, you have dinner, you watch TV, and you go to bed, and you wait for the translators to translate. Do you all comb your hair? Okay, so anyway, this is a very simplified version of life. But somehow it makes sense. Yeah, mundane life, what do? You wake up and then you go to bed. If you think about it, that's what you do in your life, in a mundane life. Then you put different things in between. But the core of it is you wake up, you go to sleep. You dream, you wake up, you go to sleep. Actually, Jung, I don't know if you know, Carl Gustav Jung, even put himself so far that he said, your daily life is a mere looking for and towards what you dreamt the night before. That is incredibly sad. It says, whatever you dream tonight when you go to sleep, tomorrow you wake up and you're just looking for that dream. It's mundane life. I'm oversimplifying, of course, everything. Yeah? So Guruji says, the material world consists of a few things which everyone runs after: wealth, fame, and power. People are running after all the things which can exist only in this world and which are limited only to this physical plane. When these few things are removed from the people who are running after them, what is left? Nothing. And when you ask these people what you have achieved in life, they will say nothing. Or they will talk about something which is within this limitation. Material life, mundane life. Limited. Spiritual life. Exactly the same. You wake up, you get up, you take a shower, you get dressed, you wake up Krishna, you comb your hair, you have breakfast, you go to work, you do the food prayer, then you have lunch, you cook dinner, then you do the food prayer, and then you have a dinner, you watch spiritual TV, like Gaia, or virtual pilgrimages, or YouTube experiences with the master. Then you put your deity to bed, and then you close your chakras, and you go to bed. You still have no control of what you're dreaming. You still have no control of what you're doing in the night, and then you wake up again, and then you do your mantras, and then that's it. So what's the big difference between the spiritual life and the mundane life in this specific context is what you are focused upon. It's the big difference, where you put your focus. You still have to act. Chapter 3, the world is bound by action. Bhagavad Gita, Krishna. It's very clear on that. The world is bound by action. You have to act. Even if you go in a cave, you have the essential needs that you will do. Yeah? Guruji says, whereas the spiritual life, the spiritual world is the opposite of all this because of what we read before. Because one craves to know the divine, one craves to understand the divine, and one longs for the divine. But this is just not enough. Because without an objective and without knowing where one wants to go, it's difficult, and nowadays not many people know where they want to go. Only the teacher, only a Param Guru or a Satguru can give that to you. The rest will bring you to a certain point only, to a certain limitation, and then what happens? One always stays in this circle of birth and death. During the Narada Bhakti Sutra last year, was it last year? No, time is... During the Narada Bhakti Sutra, what did Guruji say? He said, if you come to me, I will show you who you are. Amazing. But I will challenge your mind. You don't like it? Ciao. You can go. You don't have to stay. And then he said, the spiritual market is full of gurus, of masters, of guides that will tell you what you want to hear. Limited. But I will not. If you want to know God, follow me. But I will challenge your mind. It's a deal that you have to make. And he's really good. Really good in doing that. So 2 types of life: mundane life, spiritual life. Okay? Now, let's put things together. Scenario number 1, depressing. Oh, I did what I did. Oh my God. Exploded. Okay. Scenario number 1. needs of the world plus guides of the world plus mundane life equal life of misery. And you would think, oh my God, you're so Italian. Even Guruji told me some month ago, you like to exaggerate. Huh? Because I might have exaggerated some percentage to like 1,100,000%. It was true. It was the statistic was true. But, you were in the car and he turned, smiling, but a little bit like, you like to exaggerate. I said, yeah. Well, I have to. It's in my DNA. So, needs of the world plus guides of the world plus mundane life equals life of misery. And you would really think, oh my God, you're exaggerated. Absolutely not exaggerated at all. Why? I'm just quoting Krishna. Quoting Krishna. So, Krishna says, chapter 8, verse 15, having reached the highest perfection and attaining me, not what we are talking about, the great ones never again take rebirth. Where? In this world, which is transient, aka limited, aka changing, aka mutable, aka means also known as, just saying, and full of misery. It's not my opinion, I'm using scripture. It's a guide. Scripture will give you guide to make your opinion. It's not my opinion. Taking Bhagavad Gita opinion. So let's look at this again so that we are all clear that it's true. Needs of the world plus guides of the world plus mundane life equal life of misery. This is the truth. This is the truth. This is the truth. Somebody disagrees? Nobody. Great. Now, we can maybe spend like 1 minute on why. Because in a world that is transient, you will have misery for sure. Why? Because the opposite rule works. Are you happy? You will be unhappy. Are you experiencing pleasure? You will have no pleasure. Are you experiencing wealth? You will experience poverty. Opposites. So, of course, it's transient and full of misery. Also because whatever you have will die. Tragic. Exaggerated. Not at all. It's realistic. You will die. Whoever you love the most might die before you. Might lose it. It's gone. Him, her, gone. I lost people I loved. They're gone. Completely. Transient. Full of misery. In that moment, I wasn't like, oh yes, amazing. No, they died. It was finished. I had something nice. It broke. It's very easy. Depressing a little bit, but it's true. Now, scenario number 2. Let's do something nice. Well, of course, wait, for the sake of whatever mathematician is around here, I am aware that potentially there are way more than 2 scenarios. But I need 2 for today's sake. I know that I can put them all together and make some weird stuff. But in the equation, I need 2 only. So, need of the divine plus the guides to God plus the spiritual life equal lives of bliss. Amazing. Amazing. Is this my opinion? Absolutely not. Absolutely not my opinion. Bhagavad Gita chapter 8, verse 15 says, when the mind is detached from external sensations, aka limited, aka changing, aka mutable, one finds happiness in the self. And when through yoga the mind is on the Lord, one enjoys endless bliss. Very easy, very clear. Need of the divine plus guides to God plus spiritual life equals life of bliss.
Just take some time.
There's no time in that equation on purpose. No, I mean, that's the reality of things. Now, what the scriptures say on the guru. It's interesting just to see what they say. For example, let's take the Upanishads. You know the Upanishads? The pinnacle of the philosophical experience of the Vedas. Amazing. What does even Upanishad mean? The Sanskrit term Upanishad, from upa, by, and nishad, sit down, translates to sitting down near. It's interesting. Referring to the student sitting down near the teacher while receiving spiritual knowledge. It's nice. So basically, the Upanishads in itself, not even the specific Upanishad, tells you you should sit down near the guide. So if the question is, as the entire lecture, why do you need a guide in your life? The Upanishads are very clear. You should sit down near someone that can give you that knowledge. Then, the Kaivalya Upanishad in the verse 5 says, in a solitary place, seating oneself in an easy posture, with a pure heart, with the head, neck, and body straight, in the last order of life, controlling all the senses, bowing with devotion to the teacher. Now, solitary place. If you take chapter 6 of the Bhagavad Gita, he's saying the same. Go in a solitary place, sit in an easy posture, back straight, pure heart, more difficult to find, but you never know. With the head, neck, and body straight, in the last order of life, that means the last stage that you arrive to, the sannyasi stage, where you are renunciant. Controlling all the senses, incredibly complicated. Bowing with devotion to the teacher. Like, this is how important it is that you put it in the Upanishads as the prerequisites to reach that Brahman realization. To have the realization of God, you need that. You need to control your senses. You need to be renouncing in the last stage of life. It doesn't mean to be a monk or in yellow or in orange or in red. Pure heart, like it's as important as having a pure heart, bowing with devotion to the teacher in the Upanishads to get that knowledge, that realization. In the Mundaka Upanishad, in the first canto in chapter 1 in verse 12, it says, for the sake of this knowledge, let him only approach with sacrificial fuel in hand a teacher who is learned in the scriptures and established in Brahman. Another, third Upanishad. There are many more Upanishads that talk about this, but for example, in this one it says, go to the teacher, bow down to the teacher, approach him, and he has to be learned in the scriptures and established in Brahman. Yeah? So go to that teacher. You need him. You need a guide in your life. Why? Because if we take the scriptures as a guide, that guide tells you, go to the teacher. In the Pingala Upanishad says, then after resorting to a good teacher and serving him for a long time, he questions him as to the nature of bondage and release. Why is this so nice? Because chapter 4 of the Bhagavad Gita, verse 34 says, go to the one who has seen the truth with, you remember the three? What are the three qualities you should approach? Submission, extensive inquiry, and service. Pingala Upanishad. Resorting to a good teacher, go to the one who has seen the truth, verse 34. Serve him for a long time, extensive inquiry, question him as to the nature of bondage and release, the nature of karma. Yeah? This is what he's asking you, go. This is what the Upanishads are saying. Why you need a guide in life? Because you need to inquire, you need to serve him in order to be instructed on the nature of God and who he is. In another Bhakti Sutra, in the Sutra 39, says, the association of great souls is both difficult to obtain and to understand, yet its effect is infallible. Now, if you had bad associations in your life, you know that the opposites work the same. the association of relatively lost souls is both easy to obtain, honestly, and to understand also. And it's very effective and is infallible. Why? Because they will bring you down. I'm telling you from experience. I tried to get my uncle out of drugs. You know the story. And if you don't, I ended up in drugs. With a great purpose. The purpose was great. The association wasn't. Just dragged me down. And what's the nicest thing about this? He even told me. That's the beauty of it. Joking aside, he said, don't come close to me. I will drag you down with me. And I said, no. I am strong. I can do it. I wasn't strong. I didn't do it. He's still taking drugs. He's still alcoholic. He's still doing whatever he was doing before. It dragged me down, though. But the association of great souls is at the same way very effective. Go to them, come to SPN. You're not going to find so many saints. But, you never know. Go in your sanghas, go in your communities, find people who are looking what you're looking for, and follow the master and what the master says and what the saint stories are, and the effect is infallible. Look, we talk about saints. Swami Akash just appeared in the back of the tent. Go to Swami Akash, asking questions, engage with him, have an association with Swami Akash. He's a great personality, and from experience, I can tell you this. The difference between Swami Akash and my uncle is not there. It's not there. Why? Because they both are doing the same thing. My uncle and Swami Akash doing the same thing. My uncle dragged me down. Swami Akash is dragging me up. And now I made it as a joke, but I'm not joking right now. Swami Akash is an amazing person. The more you hang out with these people, the more you look at how much they do, how much they did, what's the seva they do, what's the dedication to the mission, to their guru, the more you get it. You learn from it. You assimilate staying with them. So I'm not joking right now. I made it as a joke. Swami Akash is amazing. I tell him every time I see him. He is. Not jokes. He is. Good job, Swami Akash. So.
It is true. He always tells me that every time he sees me. I'm trying to keep my head smaller. One day my head will not get in the tent.
It's true. It's true. It's true. It's not a joke. It's not a joke. Swami Akash is amazing. But together with, for example, I was in Italy. Don't tell Swami Niruddha I told you this story. So I was in Italy, and Guruji was giving darshan, and I'm walking, and I don't remember why. Actually, I do remember why. Swami Niruddha is amazing, but he's also Swami Niruddha. So he saw that I was freezing. It was super cold. I was in this, and I was giving the candies and the stuff to the people after darshan. And Swami Niruddha came and he said, "Are you cold? Should I bring you a shawl?" And I said, "Yeah, it would be amazing. If you can go in my room, it's in the luggage." And I said, "Okay, I'll go and come back." 1.5 hours after that conversation, I had no shawl, no way to be warmer, so I decided to go up myself. On the way back down, I see him talking with a guy. It's a nice conversation. I have no idea who the guy was. Never seen this guy before. So I stopped to Swami Niruddha and I say one thing, and I said, "If I waited for you, I would have died." And he just looks at me smiling as if to say, and he had his shawl on, so he took his off to be warmer. But he abandoned me there with the iceberg and the polar bears. So I tell him that thing, but then I see that he's talking to a guy, and I don't even know why, but I say something like, "But it's okay, you're amazing anyway." And then I look at the guy and I said, "This guy's amazing." Just look at this weird conversation. You meet a random guy and you start to tell him how amazing the person he's having a conversation with is. And I say, "This guy's amazing." This guy's amazing. Really. I can feel it. What are the odds? What are the odds? So, Swami Niruddha, great association. So, I am there with Swami Niruddha, and I tell this guy, Swami Niruddha, he's awesome, he's amazing, great conversation, whatever you need, best conversation you're having with this guy. And Niruddha looks at me like, what is wrong with you? Why are you saying all these things? And I had no idea, honestly. But it was just true. Just the reality. I just looked at this guy looked a little bit lost, and I said, in my experience, your decision is great. Talking with Swami Niruddha is one of the best things that you can do. Just go to him, talk to him, he's going to help you. Amazing. So then Swami Niruddha did come to me and he said, what was that thing? And I said, actually, it was just reality. I just don't tell you that often because of many different reasons, but at the same time, it's really what I feel. And it's really what I feel. And that's the same with Swami Akash, and same with many other people, and many of you is the same. The association with these people will give you this, with this thing. That's what that specific verse it's saying, is the effect of it, of this association, is infallible. You will see it, you will feel it on yourself. It's really amazing. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, in Canto 11, chapter 3, verse 22, it said, accepting the spiritual master as one's life and soul and worshipable deity, the disciples should learn from him the process of pure devotional service. Narayana, Hari, the soul of all souls, is inclined to give himself to his pure devotees. Therefore, the disciple should learn from the spiritual master to serve the Lord without duplicity, and in such a faithful and favorable way that the Supreme Lord, being satisfied, will offer himself to the faithful disciple. Amazing. When I met Guruji the first time, you might know the story, in 2016, in April, it was the 21st of April, I met Guruji. Which story did he talk about? He talked about the story of Kabir. And in one of the compositions of Kabir, it is said, he says, that when you find yourself in front of God and in front of the Master, who do you bow down first? It was the beginning. For me, it was the beginning, and I was confused. Never met this guy, so who do you bow down to? Yeah, we all know the right answer is the Guru. But it's good that you remind yourself. But when he asked that, I was like, I have no idea. Like, why would you bow down to the guy when you can bow down to the object of that devotion? But Kabir says, you bow down to the Master, you bow down to the Guru, because without the Master, you would not have the knowledge to be able to see God. It's the key. It's how important. That's why you need a guide in your life. Again, in the Bhagavatam, in Canto 11, chapter 2, verse 37, it says, therefore, an intelligent person, that there we have to see who of us identifies as an intelligent one, should engage unflinchingly in the unalloyed devotional service of the Lord under the guidance of a spiritual master whom he should accept as his worshipable deity and his very life and soul. Now, again, the Bhagavatam is very clear. The Narada Bhakti Sutra, very clear. The Upanishads, very clear. Just under the guidance of the spiritual master. You need the guidance, the guide. It's essential. Well, we know this one, but we can read it again. In chapter 4, verse 34, Krishna says, one should approach a spiritual master with submission, extensive inquiry, and service. Such realized souls can instruct you, for they have seen the truth. And if you want, I can give you a way to remember this verse by heart. You want? Yes. Okay. So, it's crazy though. You have to follow some madness. in my mind. But it works really good, really good. Tested. There's a stamp. Okay, so one should approach a spiritual master with submission, extensive inquiry, and service. These are the three things we have to remember. Translators, you are screwed, I tell you already. There's no way you can translate this in your language. So, you have to figure yourself, when you think about it, you are in the desert, and you are thirsty for the truth. It's essential that you remember that you're thirsty for something. Why? Because thirsty for sounds a lot like 34. Okay? So you are there, and this thing, there's a desert around you, you're there, there's a hill, and then there's the ocean down there. You're thirsty for knowledge. You have to remember that it's chapter 4. This is something that is your job to do. I tell you how to remember 34. You're thirsty for the truth. Thirsty for knowledge, whatever you want. Now, what do? You have the body of water in front of you. You have the ocean. So what do? You jump and you throw yourself there because you want to drink that. But it's not working. And you are dying. You are drowning. You're drowning. But what happens while you're drowning? There is a submarine with the face of Paramahamsa Vishwananda that is coming towards you. Why is it essential there is a submarine? Because of submission, okay? So it's a submarine, or I don't know, in Italian, a sub is the one that goes underwater with, but I don't think it's anyway, it's a diver, but in Italian it's a sub. So a submarine with the face of Guruji, it's a beautiful submarine. It's coming to you, and like in the cartoons, there's a question, like the question mark on top, like, and these questions popping in that, you're drowning there, and you sit down there. As a question, extensive inquiry, questioning. Do you need some service? Do you need some? This Guruji asking you with the face of a submarine, asking, do you need some help? Can I serve you in some way? Very easy. Okay? Now, you can do it. I'm telling you, it works. Just recap quickly. Thirsty for the truth. 34. Yeah, you're thirsty for the truth. It's as if Krishna did it on purpose. It's crazy, this thing. So you're thirsty. No, it's really crazy. I mean, honestly. You're thirsty for the truth. So you, in the desert, you cannot drink. You throw yourself in the ocean. You're dying. You're drowning. But down there, the submarine with Guruji's face comes. It's really helpful, I'm telling you. And question marks everywhere. Because he's asking you something, extensive inquiry. Do you need some service? Do you need some help? Can I help you in any way? Can I serve you? And this is how you remember chapter 4, verse 34. I know. So after, anyway, it's not finished, I'm sorry. Okay, we're in time. Verse 5, I reveal to you the mystery. This doesn't make any sense. I reveal to you the mystery inscrutable of all the three worlds, all beautiful one. Listen, the absolute is not different from the Guru. This is the truth. This is the truth. Yeah? Of course, a scripture called Guru Gita is going to advise you to have a guide in your life because of obvious reasons. But anyway, the Guru Gita says this in chapter 5 and in many other verses that we could have chosen. And how is this possible? Confused. And then this is what Guruji is saying about the story of Kabir that I told you. Here Kabir says that the teacher is even greater than God. He says, if the teacher and God are both in front of me, who will I greet first? He then says, it is only because of the teacher's teaching that I am able to see God. Now we can see, whether we take the Bhagavad Gita, whether we take the Srimad Bhagavatam, whether we take the Upanishads, more Vedic and more ancient and another type of civilization somehow, another type of way to look at God and Brahman and different more philosophical things that we can look at. But if you take the Guru Gita, that is from another Purana that is not a Vaishnava one, where again the Guru is glorified in all these different stages and parts of life, you have the essential role that the Guru and the guide is playing in the life of everybody. And I guess the final question is, what do you want your life to be? At the end of all this beautiful thing about guidance, the question is, what do you want your life to be? Why? Because when you decide the way you want your life, you will understand what the needs are of that specific life. And when you identify the needs that you have, you will identify which guidance you want and which guru or guide you need. And once you identify the guide and the guru, you will realize that life that you had as a purpose. That's how it works. So if you want a mundane life, then you will have mundane needs. And in the mundane needs, you will have to find guidances either from books, from TV shows, from different types of not gurus for how they define themselves that will give you that mundane life. Limited, but still something that many of us aspire to in many lifetimes. I'm not saying it's bad, I'm saying it's a possibility. Remember at the beginning, Maya, God, two worlds. You have to choose which one. Choose the mundane life, you have mundane needs. You will have a mundane guide, and you will end up with that mundane life. But if you want the spiritual life, you will have spiritual needs. And actually one need, that is God. And you will find the guide that can lead you to God, so that your life can be that communion to God. And Ramanujacharya, I hope you all know him, says what an individual pursues as a desirable end depends upon what he conceives himself to be. Let's read it again, just because it's not so easy to grasp because of the English also. What an individual pursues as a desirable end, meaning what each one of us is going towards as something that we desire to be for us, as an end, depends upon what he conceives himself to be. Depends of who you think you are and what's the conception of who you want to be. Meaning, if I identify myself as a man in career, I will end up pursuing that as an end. That's what I'm going for. So the needs I'm going to have, and that's what I'm looking for. If I identify myself, if I conceive myself to be spiritual, the soul, the Atma, eternal, always, hopefully in the future, soon, now, God, in communion with God, then that will be the pursuit that I have, and that will be the end that I'm looking for. And that's the end, basically, of today, because it ends everything with that question. What do you want your life to be? So, do I need a guide in my life? Absolutely. But it depends on what you define your life, how you define your life, and what you want your life to be. And then you will find the guide that will give you the life accordingly. Jai Gurudev. Om Shanti 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 Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. Prem se bolo Satgurudeva Shri Swami Vishwananda Mahaprabhu ki Jai. Samasta Bhakta Mandali ki Jai.